Are HIIT workouts actually effective for weight loss, or is there another alternative? Because before we do another HIIT workout, we need to determine, is HIIT training the key to rapid weight loss, or is there a better option? This advice is coming directly from a physical therapist, yours truly, and I've helped thousands of women over 30 lose weight and love their bodies. Now, the secrets that I'm about to tell you will ensure that you are losing weight consistently without all the nonsense that you hear on the internet. Before we dive in, I want to know, how many HIIT workouts are you doing every day or at a week? Let me know in the comments and let's get after it. All right, coming in hot. So what is HIIT training? HIIT training equally means high intensity interval training. So what it is, you have bouts of intense movement and then a period of rest. Your intervals can depend on your exercise levels or what your goal is. There's different HIIT workouts. You'll see the often one, Tabata, which is 20 on, 10 off, your most common. But you can do different variations of ratios, 30 on, 15 reps, where we have a even 2-to-1 split, or you can do a little more than that, where we're having 45 seconds on, 15 seconds rest, where your work-rest ratio, you're spending more time working than you are resting. It really just depends. But you want to make sure that your intervals of working aren't too long, because again, this is supposed to be highly intense interval training. So you want to keep it at a duration where you can maintain a high level of effort before having to rest. Doesn't make sense if you're doing HIIT workouts that are 90 seconds of movement, because then you're getting out of that highly intense, because you just can't sustain the activity for that long of a time. So that's essentially what HIIT training is. Now, while we're using HIIT training, what energy systems are being utilized? Because this is what's going to determine the fat loss, right? What energy systems? So HIIT training, because of its high intense, it's using anaerobic energy system, which means there's no oxygen being used because it's a high, quick amount of movement, right? So while we're using that system, what is our main source of fuel? Is it protein? Is it carbs? Is it fats? Well, it's ATP, and depending on how long, it is carbohydrates. So a lot of people think utilizing HIIT training is going to target their body fat. In the moment while you're doing the exercise, you're actually not using your stored fat as your main source of energy. It's your ATP system and your carbohydrates. I'm not going to go down the counting worms with ATP, not to get too sciencey, but it's just quick energy that your body has. And then your carbohydrates as well, because it's an intense movement. So for those who are thinking HIIT workouts are directly affecting their fat, it's not. It's not using fat for energy, it's using your carbohydrates and your ATP, depending on how long the activity is and how intense you're going during the activity. As you piggy back and forth between your periods of intense, that's where the anaerobic system is happening. And then you go to your recovery, that's where the aerobic system is happening. It's utilizing oxygen to help your body recover, and then you go right back. And it feels like you never really find that flow because, again, high intensity interval training. You want those periods of, I feel like I'm gonna die, and then you want that period of rest to give your muscles time to slightly recover before we go back and go intense again. And with this, we'll go into the next thing, which is your exercise post-oxygen consumption. This is truly where the benefits of the training come in. Because again, you're having periods with intense movement where we may not recover as well. And then post-exercise, your body wants to get to what we call homeostasis, which is essentially your body just wants to chill. Your body don't feel like being too stressed. It don't want to be too high. It doesn't want to be too low. It wants to be at an even kill, homeostasis. So in order for it to do that, post-exercise, your cortisol levels are a little higher. You place a lot of stress on your body from HIIT. So your body is working on recovering. It wants to restore your heart rate back to a normal level, restore your blood pressure back to a normal level, push out the lactic acid built up and everything in your body. So what your body starts to do, one, we want to put more oxygen in, because again, we were operating in an anaerobic state of less oxygen. So your body's going to start replenishing your oxygen stores within your body. While it's doing that, it's utilizing calories to return to homeostasis. So that's where some of the benefit from HIIT training happens. The exercise post-oxygen consumption, there's calories being burned. So now you're essentially burning extra calories while you're not working out. And that's where the benefit comes in for HIIT training. Again, HIIT training doesn't directly target body fat. Exercises with weights, you're slow, controlled, where it's not as intense. That's why we harp on utilizing exercises with weights. That's what truly helps address body fat, on top of being in a calorie deficit. But HIIT training doesn't necessarily target or utilize fat as its energy system when performing exercises. But you will burn a bunch of calories, both while you're doing HIIT and while you're not doing HIIT because of that recovery. So if you're really focused on just burning a bunch of calories, HIIT is super effective. But if you're focused on body fat and that transformation, HIIT is good to utilize, but that shouldn't be your main source or the main thing that you do with all your workouts. So some alternatives to HIIT training. I know everyone loves to do HIIT. There's nothing wrong with it. You want to have a good balance of doing some days with HIIT exercises, maybe 2 to 3 times a week with HIIT workouts. And then the bulk of your program, you really want it to be exercises utilizing weights, where you're doing either upper body, lower body splits, depending on how much time you have, or full body days, but really utilizing exercises with weights where it challenges your body to break down muscle, build it back up, utilize your fat storages as your energy when you're doing low, slow exercises, something like steady state cardio if we're not doing necessarily strength training. So you want to make sure that you have a good balance within your program and you're not HIIT heavy on all of your workouts. You want to make sure you have that balance. Another benefit, I'm a big advocate. I like strength training versus HIIT training, but again, a good balance. A lot of the ladies in my program, we tend to do HIIT workouts. They'll have them Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll have some HIIT workouts, and I like to do our strength training, and then I keep my HIIT workouts to about 5 to 10 minutes. We don't do a lot because, again, I know we'll get more benefit about exercising with weights. So if we use exercises with weights, we'll get more out of it. So we typically do those because, one, as your body increases its strength, you increase your muscle mass, you get stronger, you get leaner, your body's gonna burn more calories at rest. It takes more energy to sustain muscle at rest versus fat. So by doing so, if we are starting to tone and get in shape, your body's gonna burn more calories while you're at rest, which is better rather than if you're the other end of the spectrum where we don't have as much lean body mass and we have more fat storages. Now we gotta work twice as hard outside of other places. So we really gotta dial in with our macros, really gotta dial in with our nutrition, really gotta dial in with our exercises to make sure we're burning more calories versus I'm a stronger individual, so I end up burning more calories throughout the day. That's typically where you'll see if you compare men to women, men typically have more muscle density. So that's why it always feels like, oh, we can eat the same thing and he gains no weight, but I'm gaining weight. Well, if they're a stronger individual, they're burning more calories at rest than you are. And they probably fidget more. Like men, we want to play basketball through the house and whatnot, so we fidget a little more to burn more calories. But that's a conversation for another day. So exercises with weights, strength training, your squats, your bench press, lat pull down, simple exercises. I'm just throwing out a few, but those are all going to be great when it comes to trying to the key to rapid fat loss and rapid weight loss. Now, we couldn't have this conversation without touching on the role of cortisol, especially for those with PCOS, menopause. Where does HIIT come in if you have those things? If you're going through menopause or if you've been diagnosed with PCOS and your symptoms are flaring up, where does HIIT play in there? Well, I honestly wouldn't recommend you do a lot of HIIT heavy workouts, especially with PCOS, because cortisol is something that we're trying to manage. Typically, at higher levels of cortisol can lead to us storing body fat, increase in cravings, changes to mood, makes weight loss a little more difficult. Exercise does increase your cortisol levels because it's a stressor to the body. It's a good amount, but if we're already having a cortisol issue, now when we go to HIIT workouts, we're placing even more stress on our body. And let's say you had a stressful day, so your sympathetic system is on overdrive. then you had a stressful day, you didn't take a moment to decompress, we have PCOS and we know our cortisol levels are already kind of high, then we go do a HIIT workout that's putting a lot more stress on our body, setting yourself up for disaster. I would recommend to prioritize more of the exercises with weights. So your strength training. I know it can get boring, but we don't need to be out of breath every time we work out. 3 sets of 15, 4 sets of 12, 2 sets of 20 with weights. Those things will get you more bang for your buck than a HIIT workout, especially if you have PCOS. Same thing with menopause. We want to be sure to reduce inflammation. We want to avoid stressors. Our estrogen shield is coming down. We don't want to spike our cortisol levels as well. So utilizing exercises with weights, especially as you go through menopause, we want to combat some of the things that are happening from an inflammation standpoint, from the rise in body fat. Exercises with weights helps increase that lean muscle mass. We want to combat what may be happening with our bone density, because at each decade as women age, your bone density decreases. So utilizing exercises with weights can help with that as well. So I personally would recommend utilizing exercises with weights over HIIT. Doesn't mean we can't do HIIT workouts, I just wouldn't prioritize them. If you've been finding this information helpful and you are someone who needs help reaching their weight loss goals, whether it's you've been doing all the HIIT workouts that you could do, you are tired, you are overwhelmed, and you know you need an extra set of eyes on your program, an extra set of hands to guide you through this process, what I want you to do is click the info card that's coming up and book a free 15-minute consultation with a member of my team. Now, this is only for those serious people who are looking for help to get to that next level. If you are someone who already sees the value in prioritizing yourself, you already have allocated the space to work on your health, you're just not getting the results that you want, and you need someone to take you to that next level, please go ahead and book that 15-minute call. You can either click the info card that's coming up on the screen, or you can check out the link in the description. Again, we've taken our clients from coming to us and not being able to lose weight for months to now losing 19 pounds in over 2 months. We've had a lady lose 30 pounds in 8 weeks. It's doable when you have the right structure in place. It's doable when you have the right support and accountability. All I need you to do is take some action. So again, if you are serious and committed to reaching your weight loss goals, go ahead and click that description and book yourself a 15-minute call. It has been a pleasure, everybody. So again, HIIT training, that's up to you. I personally would recommend utilizing strength training as the bulk of my program and sprinkling HIIT in over time. I wouldn't have HIIT do the bulk of everything as I do. Yes, it can be effective at burning calories, but your goal is to burn fat loss. You want to be snatched. You want to reduce your body fat. You want to unbig your back. You want to get rid of your belly fat. In order for us to do that, we have to first be in a calorie deficit and make sure we're getting adequate nutrients. I posted a video about that last week. If you hadn't seen it, go ahead and check that out. We want to make sure you're in a calorie deficit. You want to make sure that you're utilizing exercises with weights. Doing those two things will put you in the right position to lose weight and keep it off. Now, I hope you found this video beneficial. If you did, leave a comment letting me know. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. Till next time, check out the playlist. Peace.